Let's take a look at how iArpeggiator works in the step edit mode. As usual, I have to apologize. I haven't found a really good camera set up to capture the Jupiter XM very small screen correctly, the keyboard, and also the MIDI Designer Pro layout. You're not going to be able to see my hands playing chords, but that's okay this time, I think. So I've got a initialized scene loaded right now, and I put a lead synthesizer in part 1, some pads in part 4, and the TR-808 in part 5. So we use parts 4 and 5 as a backing track for the lead part we're going to play in part 1. So let's just get started, get right into it. We hit Step Edit button. What that does, we have an intro screen that comes up. When the iArpeggiator runs, it records and keeps in just sort of a FIFO memory the last 5 passes. So you can bring up any of those from this memory. Or you can go back and get current. Current is what is saved with your scene. So if you've already done a pattern and stored it in a scene, which is where these are stored, you bring it back that way. Or initialize. We're starting fresh, so let's initialize. And we bring up our grid now. The pattern memory, you have one, in each scene you have one pattern for each of your 5 parts. And you can have 16 notes, and these are the vertical value, and 64 time positions go across horizontally here. And I say it's pattern as opposed to a sequencer because you have one pattern. You can do a lot with it, but there's no A, B, or any variations like that. It's just, it plays what you've got stored in here. Okay, so let's start. We want to choose part 5 first. So we go to part 5 and we see that show up. First thing, let's set the grid length. We can go, if we go to the left from this menu here, we get the Arpeggiator part edit screen. We come down and we'll choose a grid length of 32 with a 16th note. And you may not be able to see, but this followed right along. The manager layout followed along with that adjustment. So let's go back then to the grid. Now the way we enter the notes is we just hit the note on the keyboard, and that velocity value is then what goes in when we hit TR edit. So let's, first of all, I want to transpose down one to get our nice TR, and as soon as I hit that note, you see it shows up here, C2. So now, back to step edit mode here. Now this row of 16 buttons represents those 16 positions highlighted in that line. So I can just very quickly hit 1, 5, 9, 13, hit play, and you see we have our nice kick pattern. Now hit the second screen, 1, 5, 9, 13. We have just our standard 4 on the floor pattern there. Now if I hit another, let's add a little shaker in there, something like that. So let's go 4, 8, 12, 16. See those guys go in. 4, 8, 12, 16. Whoops, I hit a 15 there, but you see I can turn them off. You just adjust them like that. Let's so that's a pretty vanilla pattern, but good enough here. Let's add one more thing here. Are we on page 2? So let's put let's put a reverse symbol in there. Let's try him about 9. That's a little too late, maybe about 7. So he hits close to the end of the bar. Now if I want to go back and edit, I can scroll around this way and go to a value. This will change my velocity value in there. This will roll me along horizontally. But really the easiest way to get back to the line is just hit the note again, and you see it takes me back to that line. Okay, so I got a fairly vanilla drum pattern running in the background, so let's stop that. Now let's go to our other part. Let's go to part 4 now. We got part 4 selected. Okay, first thing to do is select the grid length. This time we're going to go to a grid length of 16. This distance is a little hard to see. We'll take it right there. And this time we want it to be the 8th note. So let's choose the 8th note right there. Okay, so 16 beats at an 8th is the same as 32 at a 16th. So the patterns will run the same length. You can get some interesting values with having one pattern at 37 and one at 53 or something like that. And they will run asynchronously like that. Okay, so let's go back to the grid here. Now I'm going to do what I'm going to do this time is let's see. The same thing happens as soon as like this come back up. I was transposed down an octave for the 808. We're back up. Now you can take a shortcut here. If I play a chord, I can enter a chord at one time by pressing that one note. So part 4, step edit. Now if I hit that one button, you see I got all 4 in there. Now I can clear that. Now I want to show you something else, but let's clear that out. Let's hit that button, clear. Now that erased that whole step. I'm going to hit the chord again, press a beginning and an end, and that will tie it all the way over. 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to 16. Not particularly sexy, but you know, it's what we got there. Okay, now let's exit out of step edit. Exit there. Now let's get our arpeggiator going. Now what I want is I want parts 3 and 4 running, and they're the step edit mode on. Now as soon as I go into step edit, Jupiter X actually changes those parts to step edit. So I forgot to point that out when we went there, but you see the step edit mode has come on. We want these on. We want the other 3 parts off. Okay, now we turn on our arpeggiator, turn on hold. Now as soon as I start with my lead line in part 1, I have part 1, let's make sure I've got it here. Let's go to part. Okay, so my part 1 is on. Part 1 is shown, 4 and 5 have the pluses, which says the arpeggiator is running them. Okay, now as soon as I start, I should get my pattern following me along. Not going to win any composition awards, but that gives you a quick idea of how easy it is to use your step edit mode to put a pattern. Now, if I like that, I would obviously want to write this and save the scene. However, that's not a very good thing, so we'll just discard that at that point.